Hi, my name is Shannon J. Curtis, the author of Finding You Mental Wellness Explored and the founder of Mirrors of Health and Wealth program. Today, we'll be covering personal intellectual property, which is part of Mirrors of Health and Wealth program. Before we delve into today's topic, let's listen to an introduction of Finding You.
Introduction. Living below what you are capable of achieving is more expected than you think. Even in the various fields of professionalism, sometimes just one area of basic living tilts just too far. None of us are exempt from this mental battle to keep our heads above water. Gaining this awareness is one thing, but having the means to tackle the downtimes is another. What have you got in your hand? We will be looking at what is already yours to offer, gifts that have come to you without purchase, study or undue thought, such as singing, hosting, running, and listening to others. Work on perfecting your skills and, for example, riding a bike or driving a car. Consider some of the things you could do on a daily basis to contribute to the development of your skills. In the case of riding or driving, you could start by just being more observant of the traffic signs. What do you love doing, seeing, hearing, smelling? Identify what enhances your life positively, whether directly or indirectly. For we know that whatever we do will affect our environment in some way, even when we don't see or realize it. We will talk about acknowledging both your physical and your spiritual self to optimize your daily routine. In June 2018, I remember what had happened when it happened, why it happened, and how it continues to happen. The journey of purposeful change. It was when I attended a Master Wealth Business Network hosted by Estella, a close friend. The event was just the stepping stone I needed to transform my average life into a superb one. Who knew what new lease of life was awaiting me? I have stepped up my advancement within a small space of time. But don't be fooled by the statement, short space of time. It did not simply happen overnight. This growing development has been the result of daily actions of specific activities. In this pursuit, I have been and still am enjoying every moment of it. I embrace the hardships and disappointments that come and seek out their disguised opportunities. It all starts with an understanding of who you are and where you are now, then deciding what you need to do to become the complete embodiment of yourself. I can only encourage others to aspire to be and do to become. It is the doing that makes you the person you love and are. Love yourself and seek out all the best qualities of all the good things you can find to give to you. Moreover, don't forget to seek daily inspiration from the ultimate infinite one. What are your talents and gifts? Upon reflection, you will know. Start working on improving or mastering them so you can inspire yourself and serve and bless the world with them. You have been given them for such reasons. Apparently, each person is gifted with at least one talent or ability. Find yours. Continue to read this book, and you will find in its pages a part of you that was lost and forgotten. Do try to read new information to strengthen your brain muscles every day. Research has proven that new neurons form within the brain when exposed to new or unfamiliar data. This results in substantially more mental power over time. A little goes a long way, they say. It is the baby steps today that will become the giant leaps forward tomorrow. There is hope awaiting you right now. I must, however, also draw to your attention to the fact that Rome was not built in a day. Getting back to you, there is no need to look long, far, and hard to find yourself. Look inside of you. Yes, into yourself. Within you are the many answers you seek, but have long been too afraid to ask or awaken from their dormant state. There is a greater reality of you. With the right tools and actions, it won't be long before you begin to see that person, that diamond, that pearl, that precious jewel. It is not your position in life to eat the scraps tossed from the table, but rather to join in the feast. The world has been created to feed and care for all its inhabitants. There is no need to steal what is already yours to own. Open your gift of life every day by embracing the beautiful you, the wonders of life, including you and everyone around you. Cut yourself off from the chain of criticism, cursing, and limiting beliefs. You can do it if you truly want to. Many of our excuses spring from our desire to be lazy. Laziness offers very little or no reward, in contrast to the bountiful blessings gifted to those who actively pursue, applying the principles of giving for life. A giving which has a satisfying freedom that is felt only when you release it. It will come back with more if you only allow yourself to apply some of these tremendous yet simple life principles and laws that govern our existence. You'll never know what priceless, life-changing experience you will have and experience. All I can say is, when you seek, you indeed shall find. This book was written with the aim of bringing to your attention that your perception about something is your basic right. The basis for its formulation can be complex to define in words. A mental judgment is subjective on many levels. Also, this mental computation could be faulty, but almost imperceptible. We are certainly created equal in terms of status, but each of us are all unique in some small way. This personal space allows even conjoined twins to have very clearly defined differences. So there, I thought I'd let you process that thought before you immerse yourself within these words. Our brain is a fantastic mechanism, but it can be rendered faulty by holding it back from what it was made to do in the first instance. What I have brought forth in this book is from my own channel, but you have yours too. However, my idea is now a physical product. It can ignite the spark within you, possibly even more powerfully than my own. I am content to be the match if it lights the fire within you. You can never determine the impact of your action, be it good or otherwise. Now that is a beautiful thought. So the intention to provoke good is paramount. There is no need to worry about how far the impact of your destiny will take you, unless you are aiming to be dramatic. The power of one active soul is more impacting than 10,000 spectating saints.
So the topic we'll cover today is personal intellectual property, in short, PIP. This program will ensure your advancement very quickly. Now, who is guilty of doing the same thing day in, day out and expecting or receiving the same results that they are not happy with? This has happened to me for many years. My two hands are up. Until I grab the horn of the horse or of the bull. And that was how I began to make my adjustment. It was not enough going around asking questions. You can ask all the right questions, but even when you get the right answers, it will still not make sense. It's all about getting mentors or seeking mentors and taking the right actions. Then you can start to see the results. Because if you don't know, then you can't improve your actions, can you? So, my point is, you're in the right space right here, right now, because it means that you're seeking, that's one. It means that you're willing to learn, and it means that you're ready to take the right actions. Now, whilst I cannot promise the same results for every person, I can promise you this. Once you apply yourself, you will start to see the remarkable difference in your life and those around you. Just to say that this course is also mental health focused. Let's look on our housekeeping rules. Housekeeping rules. Apply good ethics and moral code of conduct. Be respectful. Be, Keep questions brief. Ask as many questions as possible. If unclear after several explanations, please meet me after the program. Be pleasant, be open-minded, ready to share and learn. Take notes to prompt yourself later and leave a feedback, please, a feedback for us at the end of the program. Let me reiterate that our program here is mental health or mental wellness focus. It forms the foundation principle for all our subjects that we cover. However, it's from a positive perspective. So it's all wellness subjects, and it allows you to attain health of your mind, body, and spirit, as well as or while operating a business. My name is Shannon J. Curtis, the author of Finding You Mental Wellness Explored, published in 2022, and the author of Face Up Selected Poems, published in 2019. I'm an artist, photographer, and qualified in finance. I've been working in NHS for the last 12 years in mental health, finance, and admin. Since 2018, I have the burning desire to learn more about the mind, how it works, and the attainment of mental health. This has become my passion. I'm naturally drawn to conversations about mental health and often provide guidance and encouragement to individuals, drawing from the pool of knowledge that I've acquired over the years. As a result, I've found mirrors of health and wealth. This is why I'm now your life and business coach. We major in mirrors of ideals. So, what's mirrors of ideals? Firstly, we looked on what is health. For us to enable health, one must first determine what is health. And so we use mirrors of ideals, which are framework or methodologies that are workable, tried and tested systems and models so that we can use this as our imagery of a roadmap towards a healthier life and business. This enables pitfalls to be easily and quickly identified prior taking corrective and supportive actions. This allows individuals a standard means of measure so that they can do their own self-assessment. We believe that with the right tools and knowledge, this put the power and self-control back into your hands. This is just a reminder that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You don't need to provide any apologies. You are who you are, you're unique, you are special, and you have your own take and your own purpose in this life. You're here for a reason, and for every day that you exist, provision would have been made for you. So, be purposeful, be intentional in your space, own your space because you got right to it. This is a quick heads up on a questionnaire that is on our platform, which is shannonjcurtis.com. No gaps, no space in between. So it's shannonjcurtis.com. This questionnaire is to be done or should be done before the end of this session, and it's you just need to answer yes or no. It is your own assessment, and once you're finished, the system will give you a general or a generic um, analysis based on your answers. We won't have the time to go through unless it's a special arrangement. So um, I will encourage you to complete it. And once that's done, I recommend that after you're finished with this session, that you do the questionnaire again, either today or tomorrow. Thereafter, do another um, uh, application of this questionnaire within 2 weeks or a month so that you can assess to see how you're doing for any improvement. Let me pop the big question. What is mental health? Now, based on my writings in Finding You, there was so much great discovery from that experience. There is a few establishment I've discovered, which is mental health is not about having a perfect mind. It's achieving the ideal balance to have a reasonably well functioning mind. And I hope you agree with me in these terms. The other point is that um, I realize mental health requires our daily work, your daily work. We are all in pretty much the same boat because we're all in coping. Life is like this, it's constantly dipping up and down, it fluctuates, and it's for us to take the corrective actions to get it to synchronize or to align. So you're constantly making the necessary adjustments to create balance. So because life is not static, there is no one that lives life and have it on a straight pathway. So that was one of my greatest finding or discovery of what is mental health and who is affected by it. All of us is affected by it. It's not about the illness at all. It is about maintaining wellness, and all of us are in coping because life throws darts at us at any given point, and we've got to address it and figure out ways to swim, ways to deal with it in different scenarios. So it's not about you falling unwell, but it is about the coping that matters. Um, the best way to cope is to deal with scenarios as soon as they arrive, as soon as they come. Addressing the issues and nip it in the bud as early as possible is the most attacking way of dealing with issues, and you'll have less to deal with. Each day presents very different scenarios, and so if you allow accumulation to happen or you allow yourself to enter into spaces that you shouldn't have, then it makes your life sometimes more complicated. And that is why we follow the guidance of the certain ethics, certain principles, um, the life law. For example, we know that if we throw something, an object, it will fall to the ground. And so applying those principles, it makes sense. Don't be throwing a stone at someone's window because the gravity principle takes place. It carries it, the wind carries it, and so on, and there's impact, right? If you throw the same, maybe a stone, if you throw it on the wall because of the kind of surface, it won't break, unlike the glass. So applying the principles, the law principles, um, the ethics, the values, and all these uh, different principles, um, whether it be man-made or or the automated ones that are already there in place for mankind and the universe, they work. They are there for a reason to ensure continuation of life, enhancement of life, preservation, and showing respect and appreciation for things and people and all of us existing, coexisting together. So it's all of these applications that make the difference. And the other finding was that the superior, healthy, optimal mind does not exist. Um, you can give me your own reason based on this statement. It was found that the superior, healthy, optimal mind does not exist because that kind of person doesn't exist. And attaining onto that kind of body or person is almost impossible because of the dynamics of our lives today. For instance, if you look on the pattern of the average person in the UK, let's say the man child, he goes into the office and he does his duty. He spent all day indoors. That means this person would have been deprived of vitamin D as a result of not being exposed to the sun. Back in the day, and even in some other countries, we would call them primitive, but that primitive lifestyle is actually doing a lot of greatness. So, um, y- we recall many of the richest man or men is has got cattle, they've got lands, they plant the land, and they build houses on the land. Now, that kind of person will need to wake up around 5 o'clock or 5:30 to get the land plowed and ready to plant. Now, from research, it has been proven that the best part of the sun is before midday, is the earliest part of the sun. So, again, you can see the great benefit. The land that we're now applying or planting our foods are lacking the nutrients that it once had. And so the foods that we're eating are highly fertilized, highly processed, and they're transferred from very far to get to us, especially in the UK or the United States, and I think Canada as well. I don't know for all the countries, but I'm just giving examples. So you can see the quality of food by the time it gets to your house, it's it's the nutrients is far less than it used to be. So you can see even with your effort, there are other things that would cause defects on mankind right now. And many people in the UK, because I live in the UK, many people alter their lifestyle in terms of they would work in the night so that they can look after their children in the day. Or it could be that that's the job you can find, for example. So by shifting time you sleep, again, you're losing out on your vitamin D or socializing with people who are up during the day. So again, it doesn't equate to of too much of the stability that we are after. So these are just a few highlights of why the point is made that the superior, healthy, optimum mind does not exist. Right? Let's move to the next slide. Children experience mental unwellness or mental issues. I hope we agree with this one. And here we go. Mental health challenges faced by adults or many adults often starts from earlier in their development as a child, as far back as the womb. Who agree with that? Yes or yes? Parents must take care to love their spouse, unborn baby, and behave rightly as much as possible to facilitate those who are earlier in their development. So we're on to our topic for today, which is personality types. And the wellness focus is on ideals. So we're going to look on the importance of each group, their strengths, and we're projecting the mirror, we're looking on the mirror projection so that we can use this as a means of assessment or measure to see where you are. So looking on the four personality types, and I've selected the one that is very simple because I've heard like some sanguine and all those terminologies, but this is very memorable for the average person, which is the leader, the socializer, the thinker, and the supporter. On looking on all these four, I want you to think about where you sit and then also think of the individual that may fit in that trait so that you can reinforce your learning, because when you do your learning it's important that you start to apply it from early so that it becomes a norm and so it becomes real to you, the information becomes real to you. So begin to think about where you would actually sit in this perimeter, and we're going to cover what could cause the defects and what we can do to alleviate some of the defects that we may experience or what your family may experience. Looking on the leader, and I've in bracket I've put technical, but I'm not talking about IT technical. I'm talking more on the specialist. So the leader tend to be um, strategic in their planning. They look on overview, so they like to look on the concise information. They're short and to the point. They are not interested in the details at all. They want to have this overview. They want to know how something can get done, and they don't care about how you get it done. Um, and that is from the business perspective. Um, they are also active, and they tend to be able to prioritize value very easily. Um, this kind of person believes in education, high level education, and they believe and read consistently. Education is not only formal education, but reading, getting your own books and building on your personal development, building on your confidence, building on the information that you have, and getting the facts right so that you can apply yourself in a more confident and convicting way, um, so that when people challenge you or you're faced with challenges, you will have the expertise to provide or deliver the solutions. This kind of person thinks outside the box, but they they are very structured and rely heavily on um, facts and real information. They are thorough. They like people who are loyal, that this is important to them, and more likely a leader would prioritize or um, see see marriage as important. They would be okay or fine to stand alone and do this with little or no support. They tend to be forceful in their achievements and often are called the go getter. You can you can begin to picture some individuals like this as we talk through. They're goal orientated, you know, they're all into results. Um, they're not careful for how it gets there, but they're important with the facts that it gets there. It happens, it's done, it's solidified, and they have that very competitive edge. Um, the leader copes well under pressure or under stress. They they get the adrenaline or the kicks out of getting things done and ticking off the boxes. Um, they are very good with planning. They're strategic, and they are risk takers and strong-willed individuals. So we've got many leaders around us, and their impacts are great. So you can start looking around more closely to yourself, though. Who are the leaders around you, and um, what are the actions they take, how they do it, and how they stand out. The discipline that they have, they're very thorough and disciplined in their way, and they 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 like to feel empowered by applying themselves in their groups, in their work ethics, in their homes. And so you can see the impact of leadership all around you, all around us. If that's not you, think of the even your child. If one of them or all of them are born leaders, before you start sending them to school, they are they're very forward in how they carry themselves, in how they manage others around them. Um, you will see the role plays happening. You will see little George saying, "Come, Susie, let's go. Let's do this." have a look around and identify these individuals. Here we are, the socializer, who is relational. Now, the socializer thrive on being around people. They get their adrenaline from having conversations. They like talking about themselves. They like being the center of attention. They are outgoing and they love family life. They are well eloquent, and if they they go to events, they would want to go around the biggest crowd. They are very good connectors. You can rely on them that they have different numbers to connect people together, and they are commonly um, they commonly have pets. And if you are in Britain and you're invited round by a socializer, if this person offer you a cup of tea, be be respectful, be kind, because they will very much appreciate you accepting their offer. The socializer tend to love social events, and they would probably even organize many. They are your influencer on social media. They they do a lot of communications, or they're your sales rep. Uh, they will gladly sell life insurance and make very good commissions because they're very good with um, relaying information. They are very good with like being a lawyer because they are very expressive and often called or noted to be extroverts. Um, and they naturally come across as being enthusiastic. They're lively and they're more productive when they feel at home and have a sense of connection. Great. I love to talk about the thinker because this is my space. Um, very creative people. We thrive on details. We are precise. That was the surprising note on this because the the leader is concise and the thinker is precise because we like the steps, we like the stages, we like the details, while the leader thrive on the strategic plan, the overview. They don't want to know the details, just give me the results. So you can already see the difference between these two. Um, the thinker is also logical in thinking and can be very dynamic. So with the thinkers, you don't know what ideas they will come up with. They are very random on their ideas, but also they like the flow. They like the freedom of their logical thinking, freedom of expression, because they're into solutions, they're into ideas. But funny enough, they do like order, which again, for me, order and being prepared was very surprising in this finding. This this is because I was often found to not be able to attain my own order and struggle to be prepared. But I've managed to resolve a lot of the issues as a result of gaining better control of my thinking. So it's paramount that the thinker gets a real grip on their thinking space, that they allocate time for thinking. And this was what made the difference to my life now. I actually wrote my book Finding You as a result of allocating the early morning hours to my thinking. It 10x my workspace, my delivery, my performance. I do this strategically more often than not, and it has allowed better solution to problems, better focus, and enhancements of my own life. Um, and it has also decluttered my mind. You know, when you have so many things in your thoughts, but you're not able to have conclusion to them or have plans as to how you're going to work or progress on these matters, it can really cause a lot of um, confusion and uncertainty. But as a result of even writing down a lot of the information, it has really alleviated a whole lot of stuff that was there cluttering my mind. Another thing was the order, um, which made sense, was having a system that I would apply the information. If you're going to write things down, write it in one book or no more than two. I use personally my email or um, a space that I know it is going to be there consistently, because otherwise it will risk the loss of very important information, and you want to follow through when you want to have continuation. So you want to be confident or have that sense of security that when you're ready for the information, it's there and it's in one place. Um, Originally, because I'm very I think a lot and I'm multi talented. So I would have several books in different places, and that made things worse. So that's why I'm recommending one or two books. But knowing where to find them um, as and when you need it is a priority. So that is why I need to have access to it, more likely via my phone, because that gives me the chance to add to it as and when needed. Um, so, needless I say, because I think you already realize this, that it's the thinker is very creative. They are innovators. They are the designers and the architect. Um, Funny enough, accountants fall in this lane as well because they are problem solvers, and the developers of houses and um, different things of random stuff that has never thought about. You can create things out of zero, out of nothing, and this is how powerful this space is. Very innovative. Uh, one one thing that may sound as a negative is the thinker is slower, or goes tend to be slowly tend to be slow in learning, or take action at a slower pace than most of the other traits. And again, I believe this is a strength, where you know they need to be strategically thinking, so they've got to slow down to focus on how to direct their thoughts. So again, it's how we think is not necessarily how things are in real terms or the benefits, but like most stuff, they have their advantages as well as their disadvantages. And finally, we're onto our supporter, our number four. The supporter is task orientated, and they like to work as part of a team, contributing, making their valuable contribution. these individuals are reliable and they can be dependable and act as a stabilizer. I can see here already how they'd work very well with the leader who is very busy and having so much different meetings and tasks and projects. And so you you want to have loyal people like the supporters around you where get they will tie up the loose ends that you've missed. They will be the action planners, the active person in the bottom line, getting the physical things done, while the leader is doing the strategic overview that only requires the management details to be provided. This is going into the business side now. Taking it back into the personal qualities, um, this kind of person is a people pleaser and and can be very cautious and diplomatic. Now, being a people pleaser can work both ways, for and against you. So ensure that you have your boundaries in place, that you follow guidelines, and you take me time out to for personal care and for personal development so that you'll have a good balance there. The supporter um, is very patient. So this person again has very good attributes. We want patient people around us who will help to calm the environment. And as we said before, they are stabilizers. So, and I just want to inject this into this point where many people have learned to be supporters. This is not the art that I'm after. I'm after the natural instinct. Without you thinking about it, this is the space you love behind the scene. You don't want to be up front. Um, you don't want any of the credits. You just want to get behind everyone and get on with it behind the scenes. And individuals like this also um, some oftentimes get left behind. Everyone um, achieve the recognition. They're appeased and they don't see the person who is actually keeping everyone above water. So I want to commend the supporter right now that you are amazing. You are a super person, just holding up the four corners right here, and you're doing an amazing job. Um, I want to just big you up for the amazing job that you're doing. You're the people who are the nurses, the carers, the doctors, the counselors, um, just supporting so many people in the homes. You're the wives, the husbands who are in the homes looking after the children, and we just want to raise our hat to you because you're doing a phenomenal job, even when it seems like no one sees you. But the moment that you leave your post, everything fall to crumble. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we're gonna look on what could transpire for um, or what could be the issues for people not to be in the lane that they should be in, that you're not the supporter that you should be in, and you're acting like a leader and feeling miserable at it, or you just leave your post and you're not taking much action at all. We can't even figure out where you are, or you can't even figure out where you are. And just tracing your step back to see what has transpired to have caused some blockage or neglect in these areas so that you can take the corrective measure to get yourself back in on track and be the optimum self that you can be. In summary, major reactive issues. Remember, we spoke about the analytic part of the mind, the reactive, and the somatic. So, major reactive issues can cause your personality to fall out of its rightful space. So, how does this happen? The major reason is for unconsciousness, whether it be partial or full unconsciousness. Going deeper still, if we think of perhaps operation, drug abuse, at birth, while baby's in the womb, unwellness, and other issues, accidents can cause major reactive issues. So, those are the reasons that you may not be being yourself as you should be. So, let's delve deeper as to what the issues could be. Now, one's understanding about work and life can be a major issue. If you feel that you shouldn't work and you should spend all day on the beach sipping your drink and that would be life, then you can see how this could be a major problem for all of society. The productivity would have gone zero. So let's look on work. If if you look on the 7-day week, and if you're meant to work 5 days or 6 days, seeing that as you are working around 70% of 70% of that each day is for work time. If you don't apply yourself for a whole 70 percent, what will you fit that 70% doing? If you lie in your bed or on the beach all day doing nothing, your limbs will go weak. That's for sure. You will go excessively big. You will eat food that you don't need. You will be struggling to walk. You can see how already that will be self destructive. So, if you understand that work and life should work together to equate for a balanced or a structured life, then that will yield a far greater um, result that is meaningful and of self worth and applying oneself to society. Now, looking on injury at work, how this can affect you, injury at home or the environment. If one got bitten by a dog, by the neighbor's dog, that person will be very fearful every time they're passing that gate or that home. Um, I recall going to my dad's workplace years ago, and he had a worker. My dad makes furniture, and while I was there, the worker was using one of the equipment, and his finger got cut, and it was just hanging there. And the man just stood still, no movement, no screaming. It was just the shock of what happened. Now, can you already see for him to go back to that work space? it would be a major issue. He would struggle to do his work. He would struggle maybe to even get to the door or the gate. And so having injury in a space can cause um, uh, delay in going to that space. It can cause someone to avoid that space. It can cause someone to neglect that space. The same thing happens when one has an injury from an individual, from people, from groups, and this injury could, you know, be a great hindrance. For example, if you are a socializer, you can see where if the person who is a socializer is unable to do so naturally, this would be a very big issue for them, because they thrive on that. They 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 get their adrenaline from being in that space. You can see similarly if this happens to the supporter who wants to be a part of a team, who wants a sense of connection by supporting others to get to where they want to get to, and just being that supporting party. And so if this individual is unable to engage with others, they can become very isolated, just especially if they're a carer and they're caring for someone, but they're not able to get nurtured themselves. They can build a sense of resentment if others are not caring for them. They may not ask for it, but um, that is part of how society works. Um, Someone gives and you give back to that individual or others, but it is a system of reaping and sowing. You may not get from the same person, but someone should give to you so that you can have more to give. And these are principles that we rely on. We spoke about work, but what about if you don't have work, you don't have a business, and you don't have consistent, meaningful activity to get yourself engaged in? This can be a big detriment, and you can see the knock-on effect that that has on teenagers who are not trained or not structured how to lead out or how to handle or have small responsibilities and slowly build up as they get on in life, as they become more capable. Because if you suddenly get to 20 years old, you got to go into work and you've never um, had any form of responsibility at home, it's often a problem when you get to adult. And so um, it is paramount for parents to help their young ones to be responsible in the little things so that as they get on in life, as they progress and become more capable, that they handle more challenging things. Now, what does holding a job looks like or is depend upon? Um, One must feel and experience wellness, and this is comprised of doing some of the right things. If you only do work and no other engagements, with time, this will become a problem. So one must allow for other activities to allow your mind to um, to adjust. So you adjust to have a greater insight than be introverted. So introversion will take place if you're constantly just looking at the screen all day, or you're working in a small space every day. So with time, you will also experience exhaustion. So it's paramount that you do take breaks, that you do go for a walk. And when you go for a walk, you observe, you look on the buildings, you admire the trees, you see the little dog walking, you see people, and this gives you a wider view, a more open view, more long-sightedness, because when you're doing too much up close situations, it can introvert you. Exhaustion, similar application, where you go out for a walk, you may go for the on the mall, you may admire people, because you may exhaustion may be as a result of being addressing too many people. If you're a socializer, you may be doing many sales for the day, and so you could get exhausted from that. And you could also start to reject people as a result. So it's important you even spend time um, to admire and observe and watch people after work life like that. If you have a um, busy office seeing patients and lots of people, after a while you can begin to reject them. So going into a busy space and seeing people and just observing from a distance can really help. So that is how you can help yourself to attain your life in in your job and not feeling exhausted or feeling stressed or introverted by taking walks and observing, more so observing the blocks or your environment, so you can have a more wider connection of the outside world. Another thing that could happen um, in that experience, when you're introverted or exhausted, you may even have troubles with your own um, uh, home life. You may be struggling to engage with your children or your spouse. You're having lots of arguments. So when you're experiencing that, both of you should take a walk in different direction. Okay, so the next point is your perception. One's perception can be marred as a result of our experiences. Um, in an experience, you may heard something that you didn't like. You may have seen something that you shouldn't have seen, and that can cause, you know, certain feelings to happen within the body. That is we would say the somatics coming on. Um, so your perception, you gotta um, be aware of what could happen to your perception as a result of exposure to certain experiences. Your communication flow may get hampered. So if you are told certain so, told off often, or you're told that you should sit over there constantly or without explanation, or you're you're forbidden to do something consistently and you don't understand why not, why you're not able to do that when everyone else is allowed, or you're not allowed to freely express yourself vocally, um, and this is just some examples, then this could also create low mood for you, and person could be stuck in a certain mood of conduct. For example, they're constantly angry even where it doesn't warrant being angry. but they're just stuck in that state because of their previous experiences and it's not been dealt with. So we spoke earlier about how the mind stores data. So we looked on the analytic part of the mind, the reactive and the somatics. So this is the somatics we're going to talk about now, which is the smallest of the three sections that stores data. This stores the pain and painful emotions. Now, this includes like any losses that is causing you pain and painful emotions. Another issue it deals with is, or it stores, is confusion. Um, so, for example, if you are a receptionist, which I'm going to give a scenario that I've had at work where I had um, the gate bell ringing at the front, the gate bell ringing at the back for the car for to open the gate for the cars to come in. A work colleague beckoning for me to do something for them. Two patients at the front desk, and the phone is ringing. You can see so many things happening in one go and trying to decide what to select first without thinking about what is priority. One of the principle is to just um, take one thing and address that. This gives the mind the false impression that you have everything under control. Otherwise, you become frantic and anxiety is likely to kick in. So that's one way of dealing with issues that cause confusion because so many things are rushing towards you. But just try and hold one thing still or taking control of one thing will give the mind that you have everything under control. So that's confusion. The other one is um, control. A lot of people give up because they can't seem to control the things that they want to control. For instance, I'll give you an example. In winter, um, in the UK, we can expect that. So, one of the control measures an individual can take is to ensure that they have a good winter jacket or a good pair of shoes for winter. If winter comes and you don't have your jacket, you know you're gonna have colds or cold sore or you're gonna feel uncomfortable. You may not want to go out and so on. So the best stake in this is to ensure that you make provision for that period of time. But whilst you can control getting your warm clothing, you cannot do anything about winter coming or the cold, can you? No, because that is out of your control. So this is part of life where there are some things that you just don't have the control, but there's parts of it that you can do something about, and that is the area that you need to focus on. And that way, allowing for the things you cannot control and accepting those can give you a, a lot more confidence, a lot more um, flow, a lot more release on allowing the space of corrective measures, of um, allowing yourself to participate rather than taking full control of all things. And many people have fallen into the category of hoarding because of situations like that. or overly trying to clean up, um, because you want to ensure that everything is overly clean, and you'll find that it will not control, or you will not be able to control things as much as you're trying your best. So these are some of the things that can build up somatic ills in the body and protrude as a manifestation, a physical um, result of what is happening within the mind. Here are some more corrective measures you can take. Is increase your skills to work. So the more skills you can acquire and compound on that, then you can become a specialist in something. Consider options to access work so that you can have more opportunity, and seek out opportunity where it's not obvious as well. Devise plans of um, of the way you can do things differently so that you can have activity, you can have business, so that you can be more useful, and standing out from others. So I recommend that you don't stand in other people's lane, but you stand in your lane. Learn your part first, and then you can join others. The other thing you could do is learn to communicate better. So you could go on a course, you could go online, learn your language better, or learn a language if you want to skill up in different languages, um, and maybe go counseling if you're struggling with how you enunciate. Perhaps something has happened that you can't enunciate very well, or you can't read very well. Something is stopping you. With me, I used to not be able to read a book until about 6 years ago. Um, and this was because I had traits of, you know, where dylexic, dyslexia traits, where um, I couldn't follow a line in reading. After training my mind differently, I'm able to do far greater. I'm able to read my book several times before it's finished, because I have to correct everyone's work when it's edited and it's proofread. Um, and I was able to write my book in 7 months, written my book from scratch, and the quality delivery is very good as well. So you can see how you can change when you accept the situation, but you think of how you can correct it or how you can work around it. This has also raised my emotional level. Whatever it was before, I'm now an enthusiastic individual. I fall in love with my work. I fall in love um, with people, and a lot more. I'm very creative, and with creative people, um, you know, I can create more things out of nothing, absolutely nothing. My mind is just in awe of beauty, and you also increase your affection and agreement with not only people, but um, with getting things done that used to you that would um, the things that would cause you procrastination, you now do very quickly, or you don't really think about it, you just get on with it. Now, with this knowledge of personal um, intellectual property or personality type, you can apply that and get more agreement with people than you did before. So start applying this principle and you'll see amazing things happen. So, just in summary, as a result of doing this course, you will start to feel more self confidence. You'll have a sense of control and be more organized. When you're more organized, you can see more of the pitfalls. You see what is not going so well very quickly. You will raise your emotional tone from where it was to a much higher one, and this experience will create more certainty and predictability in your life. Now that you've learned this, it's now all about your application. So, what are you going to do about it? If you've got kids, look on how you can adjust to better enable your child in their learning and how they respond and their understanding. This will enable them to advance very quickly or more than the average in their class or in their course of study. Consider your spouse or your family, how you're communicating with them. Apply the personality type concept and see how you can better agree on subject matters. Speak to that friend or that stranger that before you had the phobia to connect with because you didn't understand how to connect with people. You can start with personality, suss them, test the waters, and with time you're better able to maneuver yourself. It's all about the effort, and with time you get better at it. We learned earlier that our senses can be marred. So, how do we protect our senses? Here are four ways you can protect your senses. Um, you can reduce your intake of drugs and alcohol or avoid it totally. You can reduce your negative thoughts and your negative environments and substitute that with positive ones. So start with yourself by starting to think and speak positive language. Coffee or caffeine and caffeine. Many people living in Britain are habitually using coffee in the morning for their pick me up. I encourage you to, if you haven't started that habit already, try not to. Look on other optional ways which are more beneficial and less addictive to get your day to a brighter start. Television and media. I've stopped watching television for over, I can't even remember how many days, how many years now. And this has saved me so much time. This has also protected my mind from some of the bad news. Of course, they still come because even though I don't sit and watch the news, the news come from individuals at work and so many different mediums. But it reduces the amount that is traveling into your system. So these are only a few ways, but you can also monitor where you can alter your life to improve and protect your senses. Here are some additional means to improve your life. Reduce exposure to certain environments such as bars, I don't know, but you can think of those environments that is more conducive for your lifestyle. detoxing. Um, so we we use so many metals, and we we may have environment or living environments that are not conducive for better health. And so you've got to check these different elements. You can do massages, you can take massages rather. Um, you can go to the sauna, you can go for runs so that you can sweat, so that your pores open up. You can use essential oils to help your pores to open. There's many different ways of detoxing. Next, we you can do a detox. Sorry, you can um, apply abstinence from certain foods or substances that are not helpful to your mind, body, and spirit. Applying lifestyle living, better lifestyle of living. So I've only isolated a few: water, sunlight, where you would get your vitamin D, exercise, that's within your capabilities, and ensure adequate sleep. Sleep is a whole different subject that would be a whole presentation on its own. So I will pretty much leave it at that. And so I do hope that at the end of this presentation, you will experience brighter days or the start of a brighter day. And in this lifestyle that we've just mentioned, the holistic lifestyle, we do provide a program on this so that you can go through the list of areas that you need to isolate, and then think about what you're doing and what you can do to improve the areas of neglect or the area of which you need to adjust. Let me just remind you that you need to have your positive self talk by reminding yourself that you are well capable and that you can do the things that you plan to do, that you think of doing, and that you will enable yourself by doing the practices and repeated actions to ensure that you get it done. So I would encourage you to apply I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that's Philippians 4 verse 13. For those who love a good scripture, and that's a good place to hold. Here is a brilliant line from Emily Coy. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. This is part of his theory, and it has transformed the lives of many people. But as it says, getting better and better. The way to get better is to apply yourself, and it's in the doing, it's in the participation. So I will continue to encourage you that you get it done. Do and repeat. Repeat this. Repeat the saying and repeat the action, and reinforce that. As you apply yourself, you will start to see the results. So I'd like to say thank you for being here. Thank you. You have been amazing. I hope that you have received what you came for, and that your experience has been phenomenal. I I do appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you back doing another session. And I just want to say, keep working at it. Keep working at yourself. Keep going for it and keep elevating yourself. There is so much adrenaline that comes from doing the things that you love, the things that you first thought you couldn't achieve but have done it, and being part of participating in life and engaging in the very action of living. And that is what it's all about. It's not about um, being at the top, but it's all about engagement. It's all about thriving for excellence in whatever capacity you find yourself. Being your own lane and compete with yourself, for it's all about what you want and what you aspire for. Take care. Please remember to complete your feedback so we can always improve on further engagements and book your next session. It's always a pleasure to see you. And yeah, look after yourself. See you soon.